hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today. Hi guys, how are we doing?
Adam, James, good to see you again.
Hey up, how you doing? Everyone good?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Nice to meet you two.
Yeah, good to connect with you. Very
Nice
impressive physique.
Oh, mate, I tell you, like I was saying, I said before, it's 5 sit-ups a morning, every morning.
Very slow sit-ups, I
bet. yeah. Looking good.
The trick to it now, he gets in the bath every night with some of them gel. He's gelling himself.
Yeah.
All right.
Bathing in it.
How's things going? What's been going on?
Well, busy saving the planet, trying to save humanity from itself. But you know what's going on in the Senate, all that. For us now, it's just like a game of tennis. Nothing seems to be sticking. Backwards and forwards, like a massive distraction by the feeding loads of the nasty stuff underneath our noses. So just the usual stuff on the World War III side. But obviously, what's really concerning a lot of people now is this CBDC and the end of cash in our society and how it's going. And it just shows you now. I mean, the more and more videos I keep on watching this in the next 18 months or something, there's going to be a cashless society. I don't know how quick it is going to go because you can't put dates and times on this. And I mean, I think every country will be different because where I live in Spain, it's like it's still a little bit third worldy. Where if you get like a normal Spanish person, he has a full-time job and most of his money will be embargoed straight out of his bank account before he gets time to spend it. So he'll have a second job and a third job with cash. So if this went cashless here, I don't know how it would work. I think it'd be a massive revolution. So I see it working in certain countries, like Sweden would probably be a good one because they're quite digital anyway. So at the same point, if they do push us into this Chinese credit score, which they want to do, then they monitor all of our transactions, where it comes down to like, well, you've had your steak for this week, Mr. Zosen. You've had your egg allowance, your petrol allowance, and this is all you're going to get. So where do we go from here? I mean, I've got a little bit of a crypto investment. I've never made any money on it. I've always seemed to be losing every time I invest in it. I've never done it with silver, but after seeing John Wick, like we discussed on the last show, it really started sinking in here. Not just like how the movie was and how he was paying for things. The cool factor side that having these coins, I really thought, wow, in the olden days it was like that anyway. I wonder if everything seems to go like full circle. Is it going to go back to precious metals again? So I've got a few questions of my own because I'm really interested in myself investing now, and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same position as me where they've done the crypto thing, they've lost on it, they're still not sure about it, and we need a little bit more clarification how good the metal trade is, right? I'm not waffling a bit here, boys. I went right on a tangent.
That's all right.
No, it's good. It's all good stuff.
Good. Yeah.
Well, I definitely need some clarification because I missed the last one, and then I've done like I said, I've done a bit of silver stacking, but felt a bit uncomfortable with actually having metal in the house. Didn't like that
much.
Been
there, done that.
Yeah. It's in the back of your mind all the time.
10 years I've been purchasing myself, and I felt the same way.
So
go ahead with your questions. Like, I guess, as we say on all these videos that we do, is we're not financial advisors. This is not advice. We just want to give education and empower people from what we've learned on our own personal journey. So it's not.
We've learned a lot, haven't we? We've learned a lot of what not to do. So we just try and help people. Put the journey a lot shorter.
Exactly.
If we knew what we knew now, what we share with people, then we wouldn't have made as well. We'd have more metals in our hands. Keep it simple.
Easily. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're not bitter about it, but we want to pay it forward and pass that information on just through our experience. So this is our opinion. It's not the only way to do it, but this is, I guess, what we'll tell you is what we do and why we do it to give you some context. So fire away with any questions that you've got.
Dave, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. It's a little bit unclear about the vault that you guys use, And
you mean this one behind me?
That one there. Why is the door open?
Bit of fresh air.
And it's just the accessibility to the metal. You know, how do you? That's the mystery to me. Is okay, it's somewhere else, it's safe, but how do I get my hands on the investment if I need to? The obvious question, I guess.
Yeah, of course. And look, no one ever asks us, no one ever says to us, I'm worried about this investment making too much money. They're never worried about it going too well. It's always about the downside and protecting the downside. You know, what if the company disappears? My metal's, it's far away from me. So we get it. I don't think it's doom and gloom by asking these questions. These are the things you should be asking.
Yes.
So look, in an ideal world, I would want it in my hand and also not in my hand at the same time. But those two things can't happen. I'd like to actually have it and touch it, but there's some reasons that we've found over time that make that either impractical or not as secure. The whole idea of having metals is to feel more financially secure. But if you're having them in your home, then you start to feel, and they build up, then you feel financially insecure and worried about, you feel more vulnerable. So we choose to have our metals in the vaults. Now, there's many different types of metal in vaults. So this is not just, I guess, a blanket. The way that we do it is we are the legal owners of those metals. So the metals are not on the company's balance sheet. They're not on the storage company's balance sheet. They are legally owned by me. Okay. I know the exact serial bar numbers. I know the location. I know exactly which bars I own. So I guess the first part of that is having all that transparency.
Okay.
You can access your metals. You can't just walk into the vault. I know on the video we did, it made us look like you can just wander in. That was, I guess, a very privileged position for us to go in and film. And I think we'll probably never be able to do that again from the feedback we had after we went in there. Very unlikely. But
what happened?
People... There was nothing that happened.
Nothing happened. No.
I just think that us going in and filming was fine by the local management, but higher up the chain, again, they're in the business of security.
Okay.
And we're filming. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't kind of said, look, you can't put this footage out. It was just a little bit, uneasy, let's say, for higher management.
Understood.
So
for obvious reasons, obvious
reasons. So the two things that you can do mainly is you can sell your metals at any time and have the cash transferred into your bank account if you want to. And the company that we buy from, they guarantee to buy back all of your metals at the top market price. Now, why would they do that? Well, because they know the track record of the metals. They know they've gone from the refinery to the vault, and they've sat in the vault. So there's no question about what they are, how pure they are they the real deal? They know, because they know where they've been. So instantly they'll buy at any price.
Okay.
And the second option that you have is to have your metals delivered. And you can have them delivered in any denomination. So because you buy part of this bigger bar, let's say you've got 10 grams in this one bar, you can have a 1 10-gram bar delivered. You could have 2 5-gram bars delivered. You could have 10 1-gram bars delivered, or a combination of those. So what it does is it gives you flexibility to buy as much or as little as you want, but you're not penalized on what you can have delivered. You actually have more options for delivery.
Okay.
So with the other companies, you buy a 10-gram bar, that's it. It's 10 grams. It'll only ever be 10 grams. And you kind of, it's not the end of the world. Like buying metals.
Delivered to wherever you want.
It would be delivered to the address that you have on file. You need to have proof of your address. You can't just say send it to
only to you.
And
only to you personally with your passport. This is me. This is my address. So it all matches up.
Yeah.
You know?
Because metals, as you can understand, can attract some unsavory characters, and because once it's in metal, it can soon be melted down, and it can become untraceable quite easily. It's just metal, you know. So yeah, I know there's a long answer, but they're the options that you've got with access.
Right. Okay. That's yeah, understood. So I've got the option if I want.
Yes.
To literally stack or choose the more secure.
Yeah, and we actually, just for ourselves personally, we have 98-99% of our metals in the vault, because that's where we feel we've got the flexibility, we've got the access, we can do all the switching stuff that we'll talk to you about on another show. But we like to have a little bit close by. So and that for us is the right balance. For some people, they want 50-50. Some people want everything at home. You've got to look at what your priorities are and what your preferences are, and then go with that. But we always say, whatever you do it with your eyes open. So so there's no surprises. We've had enough surprises over the last few years. We don't need any more. So if you're holding metal in your home, in your hand, you're a little bit on your own. If you want to sell them, you've got to find someone to sell them to. You've got to work out what price they're going to give you. You've got to navigate that back end part of the journey. And if
most people that come to us don't think about that, Adam, do they? Most people that come to us don't think of selling it at the back end. They don't really. They don't even go there.
So we start with the end in mind and say, right, what's the exit look like, or potential exit, or what are the options, and we work it backwards from there.
Really good.
I mean, me personally, Dave, it's just 6 months worth of expenses in metals in my hand, and that's it, no more. 6 months worth of expenses. Yeah. If that's something that other people can use as a template, then, and also cash, even though we don't like cash, I think it's a good idea to have some cash too. But that's just something that we work off, you know.
Good to have some cash in at hand, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, we're not talking.
It's just covering bases. It's covering bases, isn't it? It's covering worst case scenarios, as many as possible. So you've got peace of mind that you've covered that, you've covered that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right about the out. You know, I bought some silver, and I hadn't thought, what do I do with these coins when it comes to the crunch? What I'll do is probably end up getting ripped off. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, by having them in the vault, we've essentially secured the best price when we sell. So there's no worry about that on the other end. The other thing with silver is, if you store silver in something called a bonded warehouse, which it's not a warehouse. A warehouse makes it sound like anyone can just wander in, but it's a type of vault. Think of it like a vault in a duty-free zone. Then you don't have to pay the VAT on silver.
Right.
Which is VAT.
I just wish I knew that 10 years ago, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a huge. It's 21%.
Just that alone, and it's not every vault. It's a specific type of vault that UK 20%. So you get 20% more for your money just for storing it in the right place and in the right way.
Okay.
That for us is a big motivator.
As long as the silver stays there and it doesn't leave the vault ever, but it doesn't need to leave the vault. You can buy and sell it, and it doesn't need to leave there.
Yeah.
All right.
You will not pay VAT legally.
Yeah. Legally. What was I thinking the other? I was thinking about the other day. Imagine if you wanted to shift location, and that involved a customs barrier.
We've had it. We've had customers say to us, I've got all this metal in my house. I'm moving countries. What do I do with it? And the options are limited. If I'm going to be honest, it's a physical thing. You've got to shift it, and with the value, you've got to shift it securely. Whereas when you've got metals in vaults that aren't where you are, then you go where you like. It literally doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I think
there's so many benefits to it, isn't there? I was
just gonna tease with one thing. Is, let's say you have got all this silver in the vault, and I think we talked about it, Lee, last time. Just we mentioned it briefly. Let's say you've got all this silver, and you've not paid the VAT because it stayed in the vault. If you were to get it delivered, the day that it comes out of the vault, the VAT would be due, and it would be due at the value on the day that it comes out, not the day that you bought it. So you could end up paying more tax when you bring it out than you did on the day you bought it. We have an option to switch between metals. So what in that scenario, if we wanted our metals delivered and we had silver, we would switch our silver to gold. Nothing's left the vault. We just switch our ownership of silver into gold, and we will get the gold delivered. And then there's no VAT at all to pay, because gold doesn't have VAT. It's a physically smaller volume. The value is going to be the same, but physically smaller volume. So delivery is going to be easier as well.
So there's no VAT on gold.
Okay. No VAT on gold, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can, it's the white metals, silver, palladium, and platinum that have VAT, but not on gold.
Okay.
So, Dave, question for you there. Those silver coins you got, what was the value? 20 euros each?
I think I think I bought them at about 20, yeah.
So I was just thinking there, so if it did go tits up and you still wanted the train, right? I'd charge 60 euros an hour. So you'd have to give me 3 coins 3 times a week, 9 a week.
Yeah, but look at my 6-pack, Lee. I don't need you.
He's trimming off.
Get them 5 sit-ups in.
He's dying to get his hands on those coins.
There's one there, look.
Oh, Lee, look at that.
Love them. Just the shine, isn't it? They're very attractive.
They're very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you got
the gold feel good?
The what, sorry?
Have you got the gold one there as well?
Oh, I don't know where it is. I've got it. The thing is gold. I have it hidden away, and it's not in my house.
He's cashed it in for Friday night. That's what it is.
I have got one, but I've got it away, not here. I don't keep much of my own home, very little, because obviously for obvious reasons. Yeah. I do have some silver, a little bit of silver. Yeah. I'll get a gold coin for next time we come on if you want. I'll get me.
Yeah. I'd like to have a look at that.
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah.
The what, Lee? Sorry, you're muffled then, mate.
Do they look exactly like the John?
Say that again.
Do they look like the John Wick coins?
No, the John Wick ones look a lot bigger actually. They do look a lot bigger, Adam, don't they?
Yeah, the gold, they're usually 1 ounce.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, 1 ounce for gold. You can get ½ ounce and ¼ ounce and stuff like that. But gold's so expensive that when you, let's say you get a gram of gold, which is about as big as a SIM card, you know, a little phone SIM card, and about as thick as a SIM card as well. And it could be worth like 60 euros. And you look at it and you think, that could easily get lost in the wash.
There's just 1 gram there.
Really easy.
Yeah.
Lee, you can buy the John Wick coins.
That's worth 1 gram. It's just
93 cents.
Hey?
John Wick coins, you can buy them on AliExpress for 99 cents. I've just looked.
Oh, 99 cents.
Brilliant. So it's like for
they do look bigger on the TV, don't they? But we don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, man, missed you there. What'd you say?
Nothing.
Okay. So
I'm just saying that the John Wick coins do look bigger on TV, but I don't know if they are. I don't know what size they are, but they do look quite big and chunky, don't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I had Dave's silver coins, they were like quite big and chunky. They looked about the same size, I thought.
We'll have a look. We'll have a look for next time. Size them up.
Right.
I'm gonna try some.
Question from me now for myself. Probably maybe a lot of other people are thinking the same way I'm thinking now. So if obviously I'm not really interested in investing in any more crypto. I've got a little bit of this, I've got a little bit of that, but I just keep every time I go on my Revolut and look, it's always down and slightly up, very rarely slightly up. It just seems to be losing every time I put another 50 in or another 100 in. It just seems to keep going down. So because I like Revolut. I like the way the bank works. It's very easy. You can jump between different currencies. You can have all sorts in your account and do it on your phone. So if I wanted to do like I say 50 euros or 100 euros investment each month, can I do like a direct debit from my Revolut account?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, easy as that. You just set it up and just let it go, hands free. That's the best thing.
So we started 50 euros a month, Adam, didn't we? Yeah.
That's what we started with.
Okay. And when I set it up, I just go into with you guys, and then it's all set up, and then boom.
Yeah. So once your account's set up, you would just you just add a new payee to your bank account and just set it up as a recurring payment to that account. And when your account is, I guess, essentially, it works a little bit like a bank account. It's not a bank account, but it works in the same way that it's ready to receive funds at any time. So anytime funds come in, it will automatically purchase metals for you. So you have something called an allocation, which you can change between 4 metals: gold, silver, palladium, platinum. And you just say how much of each metal you would like in percentage terms. So, for example, you could have it as 100% gold. And your account knows any cash coming in, it should be used to buy 100% gold. And it will automatically do it on the day that the funds reach the company bank account. You can then change that allocation at any time. So let's say the month after you want 50-50 gold to silver. You go on, change your allocation. When the money comes in, it knows what to buy. So it's a very clever system, and it's hands-free once it's set up.
That's cool.
Yeah, and what's set and forget?
James, Brilliant. Your signal seems to be quite delayed. Maybe try turning your camera off just to see if you're breaking up a little bit. Just to see if that helps.
What's the least amount you can do, Adam, each month?
€1.
Really? Oh, well, that's because a lot of people keep saying to me, when I put the videos out, they keep on saying, yeah, it's all right if you've got money. But I said, no, it's not like that, because we explained them coins were like €20 each, and it's not much money.
I mean, you have to have some money. You can't do it with no money. But literally 1 cent. Here's what I would say to people over our kind of experience of doing this and helping lots of different people. Do something that's meaningful to you. And what I mean by that is, let's say gold goes up by 20% in a year, which would be lovely. We'd all be happy at that. We've had people before that have done, I don't know, €25 a month. And they've got to the end of the year and said, it's not really done very much. And we say, well, it's gone up by 20%. It's 20% for you. It's 20% for everybody. Everyone's metal's gone up. And they said, yeah, but it's just not very much money. And the reason was that it wasn't meaningful. The amount that it's gone up wasn't meaningful. If you've got 10 euros worth and it goes up 20%, it goes up to €12 in a year. How are you going to feel about it? So you've got to add that into the equation, because the only people in our experience that have ever said, this gold thing doesn't work, see you later, and close their account is people that it wasn't a meaningful amount to them. And meaningful is very individual. It's not, it has to be 10 grand or 1,000 or 100 grand or whatever. Like, absolutely not. But it needs to mean something to you, so that when it goes up, you can go, great, that's something that I feel good about.
Well, yeah, 100%, because the 3 cryptos I'm invested in, I mean, I'm not slagging crypto off for you. It's just, it's not really my thing. But I've invested in 3 cryptos. I've never made any money. I've always lost. So, I mean, for me, just to see like the same amount of money I put in originally, or a little tiny fraction more, I will be happy, because the money's been well invested. I haven't lost any, and I've just made a little bit. But as what you're saying there with the gold, I know it's not going to go backwards. I'm not going to lose. That's the thing. So if it's staying the same or it goes a little bit higher, that's a bonus for me. What I've been through with my experience so far.
Yeah, everything fluctuates. So there's ups, there's downs. What we look at is, we don't look at the price on a day-to-day basis, because if you're not selling today, then the price is irrelevant. There's so many people that said, oh, look how much my house has gone up by. Yeah, but are you selling? If you're not selling, then that price increase, are you going to realize it? Because by the time you sell, let's say in a couple of years' time, it'll be worth something different. So we always say, look, if you're not selling today, then just don't worry about the price today. Zoom out, look at the long-term trend of metals and ride that trend for the long term. This is something we think you should be doing for 4 or 5 years plus, which I know in today's world is like an eternity. When everything's 5 minute, everything's done in a microwave. You want it now. The the kind of performance of gold over time is that the longer the better. So if you can do it for 15, 10, 15, 20 years, then great. But I would say a year, it's probably not long enough.
Yeah.
It's just our opinion.
No, I think it's correct, mate. Because I've been investing now with crypto since it basically came on Revolut 3 years ago. I think I started, and if I'll tally up how much I've lost, it wasn't a good investment for me, to be honest.
Sure. Well, again, if you're not selling today, then don't worry about it. I guess the same principle applies, right? And just look at it as a long term. Now, crypto, because it's not been around as long, it's got less of a track record, and there's not as much data to go with it. Whereas metals, they've been around eons.
Yeah. Dave, have you got any more questions?
I think the obvious one, which is quite a difficult one, I think, is with the world that we operate in, everybody's talking about they're getting rid of cash and they're going to go over to this CBDC and all that kind of thing. So, what do you think would happen there if you got a gold investment, and then how are you gonna be able to cash in?
Well, let's say the company that agrees to buy the metals back from you, whether they're in your hand and you go to a pawnbroker or you go to a gold dealer and they buy the metals back from you.
Yeah.
Currently, the system is cash, so they will give you cash.
Great.
If central bank digital currencies are what we're using as the medium of exchange, then I would imagine they would give you that medium of exchange. If you sell gold in the UK, you get pounds. If you sell it in the US, you get dollars.
Yeah.
It's just a different medium of exchange.
Yeah.
I would imagine,
So I think our lot would be probably edging toward. The only reason I ask that is because the people that we speak to, they'd probably be edging towards getting gold delivered. If that happened, I think.
Yeah.
Possibly. The only thing you've got to think about is having the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
Metals are good for a long-term store of value, but they're not good currently for trading day-to-day transactions.
Yeah.
We joke and say, imagine taking a gold bar, silver coin into Tesco's. You're going to get some funny looks. It's not practical. We've got to be real about these things. Cash is a terrible long-term store of value, probably one of the worst.
Because of inflation.
Yeah, just erodes it away. That's what they're designed to do, by the way. But it's good for day-to-day transactions. It's what's it like? Is it MasterCard or American Express? The strapline accepted everywhere. So cash is the thing that you would need. Right. So again, you gotta make these decisions out of a logical place, because it's very easy when things happen in the world, and I'm sure there's more uncertainty to come, to want everything close and to kind of pull everything in. But step back a little bit and just think about how this could play out. And the other thing is, have options. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, whether that's metals in the vault, metals at home, cash in a bank account, cash at home. Like, spread the risk, de-risk yourself so you've got options and live to fight another day.
Very sensible. Yeah.
None of this is very very sexy when you come down to it. It's quite boring and quite burnt out. But that it kind of stands true. We always encourage people to do their own research and don't believe what we're saying. Do your own research. I'm sure you'll find what we found anyway. But it's really good for you to see it yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Very clear. That's really cleared everything up for me. I didn't quite understand it, but now, I see where you're going, and very important how you cash out. It's very, very important thing to think about.
Yeah. The other thing, and we can kind of show you some, I guess, visuals on this another time, because it works really well, is the price that the company will buy the metals back from you, called the buyback price, is actually really important and massively overlooked. And this is the whole thing with starting with the end in mind. So think about buying metals as like when you swap currencies. Let's say you go from pounds to euros. If you have £100, you switch it to euros. if you switched it straight back from euros to pounds, you wouldn't get £100 because there's a cost, there's a fee when you go from pounds to euros, the first exchange. And there's also a fee going euros back to pounds. You know, whenever you've gone on holiday, you just think, well, there's no point swapping my money back because you get hardly anything for it.
Yeah.
Well, with metals, it's the same. There's a cost for swapping your cash to metals and then metals back to cash. Company that we work with, they don't have a fee when you swap your metals to cash. So there's only a fee on the way on going into metals, not on the way back. So imagine your euros, you've swapped pounds to euros, you've been on holiday, you've got your euros and you're swapping them back to pounds and you get the exact market rate, the exact exchange rate. There's no loss.
Okay.
For us, that's really important because think about it like this. Let's say you've got £1,000 worth of €1,000 worth of metal, yeah. And over time, the trend is that metals go up in value over time. So let's stretch it out over 10 years. And I'm going to butcher the numbers here, but just go with me for the illustration. So €1,000 worth of metals. At 10 years' time, they're now worth €2,000 worth. If you're charged a percentage of the value when you exchange, even a small percentage at the other end 10 years later becomes a bigger number because now it's not 1-2% on 1,000, it's 1-2% on 2,000. So people, when they buy metals, they look at the buy price and they look at the price they would get if they sell, but that's if you sell today. You're not selling today, you're buying today. So you need to look at how the price is going to fluctuate over this time and what you're going to get at the other end. I don't know whether I've made that kind of a bit too complicated, but we can show you some visuals. And essentially, we'd actually rather pay a little bit more when we buy and have the best buyback price because we know that's a percentage on a potentially much bigger number at the other side. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we start with the end in mind and say, let's lock in the best buyback price, even if you have to pay a little bit more up front, because that more up front is on a smaller number compared to 10 years' time.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So as the metals grow, we get 100% of the growth rather than 95% of the growth.
Understood, yeah.
And if you do your research, if anybody watching this does their research and looks at this themselves, they'll find this out for themselves. Most bullion dealers will charge 3, 4, 5% at the back end.
Up to 10%, I've seen.
Up to 10, actually, you're right.
For buying back. Which, imagine if you think your metals have made all this money, you've seen the market, seen the market go up, and you think, yeah, great, this is my time to exit for whatever reason, and you don't get the full value of the growth. Again, we don't want any more surprises. Do it with your eyes open. These are the kind of mantras that we kind of spit out because you don't want to be disappointed at the other end. We don't anyway. We want it to be actually really boring and predictable.
And no hidden fees or anything like that. And that's why we love our guys again, because they're so transparent. There's no hidden fees. And there's many companies that we've looked at in the past because people have come to us saying, oh, these guys are selling metals really cheap. We've looked into it and thought, oh, it looks good on the surface. But as soon as you start digging deep, the buyback price is ridiculous. The admin charges for this and for that and charges for the storage fees are sky high. And it's just ridiculous. So it doesn't actually, it ends up being a lot more expensive. The metals are a lot more expensive, you know?
Yeah, you got to look at that big picture and take everything into account. Yeah,
it's great this because I can see already how many mistakes I've made. Luckily, I haven't got much. Luckily, I didn't get much, but you can see how easily you can go wrong.
Yeah,
for sure. And we made mistakes. Yeah, and I think as well after a bit you get to understand the jargon words and the buzz phrases and things like that bullion dealers use, and after a bit you go, I kind of see what's happening here. Not that I'm sure there is scam companies and stuff, but these are legitimate companies that we're talking about. They just all do it in a different way, and they've all got to make money. You know, they're not in this for just to do a nice thing and make no profit. We get that, but you just want it to be clear, transparent, and minimize your costs for the whole lifetime of your investment.
Okay. Yeah.
Listen, that was great. Obviously, we're on the clock here. Can we do another one, Adam and James, in a couple of weeks, and you can show us them slides as well?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we'd love to.
Love to.
Yeah, old school, like presentation PowerPoints.
Oh, I love it.
I love that.
So yeah, sounds good. And if you've got any other question in the meantime, like, because sometimes we have chats like this and then your brain ticks a little bit later on, write them all down and we'll answer them. Every question that you're going to ask, we've already asked and answered multiple times. There's only so many questions, so more than happy.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
no
thank
worries.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Really good.
Yeah, good to chat.
Nice to meet you.